Welcome to Wisdom-Trek with Gramps. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, and we are on day 2902 of our trek. The purpose of Wisdom-Trek is to create a legacy of wisdom, to seek out discernment and insights, and to boldly grow where few have chosen to grow before. Title for today's Wisdom-Trek is The Incense of the Heart, Standing Guard at the Gates of the Soul. On our last trek together, as we climbed through the rugged terrain of Psalm 140, we witnessed David standing in the celestial courtroom of the Almighty, pleading for protection against violent adversaries. We felt the stinging spray of their serpentine words, and we saw the hidden nets they spread along his path. Today, we step directly onto a contiguous trail as we enter Psalm 141, verses 1 through 10. This psalm serves as a profound, beautiful companion piece to our previous study. But as we look closely at the landscape of this new passage, we notice a fascinating, highly critical shift in David's focus. In the previous psalm, he was primarily concerned with the external weapons of his enemies, but now, in Psalm 141, David turns his vision inward. He recognizes a sobering spiritual truth that every wise trekker must eventually master. The greatest danger we face in times of heavy crisis is not just what our enemies might do to us, but what the crisis itself might cause us to do or say in return. David realizes that under the pressure of hostility, his own heart, his own mouth, and his own appetites could easily betray him, causing him to blend into the very wickedness he is fighting against. The first segment is the cosmic incense, elevating prayer to the heavenly throne room. Let us listen to the opening movements of this beautiful prayer, where David combines his urgent thoughts in verse 1 and verse 2, establishing his focal point in the heavenly realm. O Lord, I am calling to you. Please hurry. Listen to me when I cry to you for help. Accept my prayer as incense offered to you, and my upraised hands as an evening offering. David begins with an intense, breathless plea, crying out, O Lord, I am calling to you. Please hurry. Listen to me when I cry to you for help. But then, notice how he frames the spiritual mechanics of his communication, praying, Accept my prayer as incense offered to you, and my upraised hands as an evening offering. To fully grasp the magnitude of this imagery, we must look at it through the ancient Israelite divine council worldview. When David lifts his hands and asks for his prayers to be received as incense, he is not just using pretty, poetic metaphors. He is operating with a deep understanding of the cosmic temple. In ancient Israel, the earthly tabernacle and later the temple were designed as physical copies of Yahweh's heavenly palace. In that heavenly throne room, the sovereign king sits enthroned, surrounded by his holy council of angelic beings. The burning of holy incense on the earthly altar represented the sweet-smelling cloud of praise and intercession that continuously rises before the true cosmic throne. David, quite possibly cut off from the physical tabernacle while fleeing for his life in the wilderness, realizes something spectacular. Even without an earthly altar or a physical priesthood, his authentic, desperate cry for help can bypass earthly structures entirely. By the power of faith, his spoken words become spiritual incense, rising directly into the celestial assembly. When he lifts his hands, he is presenting his very body as the evening sacrifice. He is appealing directly to the ultimate Supreme Court of the universe, asking the great suzerain to pay immediate attention to his case, because the spiritual pressure around him has reached a critical breaking point. The second segment is Guarding the Gates, the battle for words and appetites. With his eyes firmly fixed on the heavenly king, David immediately launches into an incredible defensive prayer for his own soul, grouping together the deep insights found in verse 3 and verse 4. Take control of my mouth, O Lord, and guard my lips. Don't let me drift toward evil or take part in wicked deeds. Don't let me share in the delicacies of those who do evil. Here David prays a prayer of profound humility, saying, Take control of my mouth, O Lord, and guard my lips. Don't let me drift toward evil or take part in wicked deeds. Don't let me share in the delicacies of those who do evil. This is a stunning moment of vulnerability for a warrior king. David looks at the wicked people who are surrounding him, and he does not just see a political or physical threat. He sees a highly contagious spiritual disease. He knows that when we are constantly surrounded by gaslighting, lying, and malicious slander, our natural human instinct is to strike back using those exact same low-level tactics. We want to retaliate with bitter, venomous speech, Therefore, David asked Yahweh to place a divine sentinel, a heavenly guard, over his lips. He understands that if he loses control of his tongue, he opens the gates of his soul to the forces of chaos. Furthermore, David pleads, "Don't let me share in the delicacies of those who do evil." In the ancient Near East, eating at someone's table was a profound act of covenant fellowship and alignment. The delicacies of the wicked represent the material wealth, the social status, and the temporary, luxurious benefits that come from participating in corrupt, systemic evil. In the divine council context, partaking in these wicked feasts was often associated with honoring rival spiritual powers and bowing to the cultural idols of compromise. David is begging God for the spiritual discipline to refuse the attractive, comfortable bribes of the enemy, choosing instead the rugged path of righteousness, even if it means experiencing physical deprivation in the wilderness. The third segment is the healing wound, choosing righteous rebuke over wicked fellowship. The narrative of David's internal defense takes an extraordinary turn in verse 5 as he contrasts the dangerous flattery of the wicked with the painful yet life-giving correction of the righteous. "Let the godly strike me. It will be a kindness. If they correct me, it is soothing medicine. Don't let me refuse it, but I pray constantly against the wicked deeds of evil people." David makes a remarkable declaration, stating, "Let the godly strike me. It will be a kindness. If they correct me, it is soothing medicine. Don't let me refuse it, but I pray constantly against the wicked deeds of evil people." This verse contains a massive chunk of wisdom for our daily trek of life. David recognizes that if he is going to stay on the path of integrity, he desperately needs accountability. He would much rather receive a harsh, painful, face-to-face correction from a godly person who loves his soul than to sit at a luxurious table receiving the smooth, deceptive flattery of the wicked. He calls godly rebuke soothing medicine, or anointing oil for the head. It might sting at first, but its ultimate purpose is to heal, restore, and protect. The proud adversaries who are trying to destroy David believe they are completely above accountability. They surround themselves only with yes men who applaud their wickedness. But David, aligning himself with the wisdom of Yahweh's kingdom, opens his heart to correction. Even as he remains completely open to being corrected by the righteous, his stance against cosmic and human evil remains totally uncompromising. He concludes this thought by noting that his life is locked in continuous, unceasing prayer against the destructive, wicked deeds of those who have rejected the ways of the Most High. The fourth segment is the overthrow of tyrants, justice at the mouth of Sheol. The narrative now shifts outward once again, as David looks ahead to the ultimate, inescapable fate of those corrupt leaders who refuse to repent, blending his thoughts in verse 6 and verse 7. "When their leaders are thrown down from a cliff, they will listen to my words and find them true. Like rocks that are split and shattered, the bones of the wicked lie scattered at the mouth of the grave." David looks into the future of cosmic justice, declaring, "When their leaders are thrown down from a cliff, they will listen to my words and find them true. Like rocks that are split and shattered, the bones of the wicked lie scattered at the mouth of the grave." This section contains highly dramatic, graphic imagery that directly connects to the ancient worldview regarding death and the underworld. When David mentions leaders being thrown down from a cliff, he is describing a sudden, catastrophic overthrow of power. In the spiritual realm, the proud human rulers who align themselves with rebellious cosmic principalities think they are sitting securely on top of the world, but their fall will be swift and absolute. When their system collapses, the people who were deceived by them will finally realize that David's warnings and his commitment to Yahweh's truth were completely accurate all along. The imagery in verse 7 is incredibly intense, describing bones scattered at the mouth of the grave, which in the original Hebrew text is Sheol. In the ancient divine council framework, Sheol, or the underworld, was often personified as a ravenous cosmic monster, Mut, whose massive jaws were opened wide to consume the dead. To have one's bones left unburied, scattered, and shattered, like broken rocks at the entrance of the grave, was the ultimate sign of divine disgrace and absolute defeat in the ancient world. It meant that these corrupt rulers, who lived in extreme luxury and partook of delicacies, would end up completely abandoned, cut off from the land of the living, and totally forgotten by history, while the truth of God's covenant stands completely vindicated. The fifth segment is the safe haven, Escaping the Hidden Nets. As we reach the grand finale of this psalm, David brings his narrative to a powerful, triumphant conclusion, weaving together his final logical thoughts in verse 8, verse 9, and verse 10. I look to you for help, O sovereign Lord. You are my refuge. Don't let me be killed. Keep me from the traps they have set for me, from the snares of those who do evil. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, but let me escape unharmed. David anchors his soul securely, crying out, I look to you for help, O sovereign Lord. You are my refuge. Don't let me be killed. Keep me from the traps they have set for me, from the snares of those who do evil. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, but let me escape unharmed. Notice how beautifully this conclusion mirrors the ending of Psalm 140. David brings his focus right back to the supreme authority of the cosmos, addressing God as Yahweh Adonai, the sovereign Lord. Surrounded by shattered bones, falling leaders, and hidden snares, David makes a conscious, deliberate choice to turn his gaze away from the chaos. He says, I look to you for help. His eyes are locked onto the King of the divine council. He recognizes that because he has kept his mouth guarded, and because he has refused to eat the delicacies of compromise, he can boldly claim Yahweh as his absolute refuge. He asks for deliverance from the covert traps and deceptive snares designed by his enemies. And then he invokes that beautiful, unyielding law of cosmic reciprocity once again. Let the wicked fall into their own nets, but let me escape unharmed. The very nets of deception and the very traps of malicious speech that the wicked engineered to destroy the righteous become the exact instruments of their own entrapment. While the wicked are caught in the web of their own making, the upright trekker, protected by the sentinel of God over his heart and lips, walks right through the danger, stepping out into a wide, beautiful place of complete freedom and victory. If you found this podcast insightful, please subscribe and leave us a review. Then encourage your friends and family to join us, and come along tomorrow for another day of Wisdom Trek, creating a legacy. As we take this trek of life together, let us always live abundantly, love unconditionally, listen intentionally, learn continuously, lend to others generously, lead with integrity, leave a living legacy each day. I am Guthrie Chamberlain, reminding you to keep moving forward, enjoy your journey, and create a great day every day. Join me next time for more daily wisdom.